once again. I hope you've had a good day so far. We are here out and about on Musical Theater Radio. You are listening to the show Be Our Guest. I am your host for today, Jean-Paul Yovanoff. We are sitting in the apartment of this fantastic guy. I've known him for a long time. Don't laugh. It's true, isn't it?
It's a cozy little place.
It's true.
Yes, it is.
But you're a fantastic guy. I thought that you were laughing.
Thanks.
All right, so we are sitting here with introduce yourself and give us your 30-second bio.
Okay, is there a timer?
No.
Okay. So, my name is Ryan Kelly. I know Jean-Paul from the graduating class of Sheridan in 1996. We shared the stage in Pajama Game and Midsummer Night's Dream together, as well as, and I was wondering about this, we can talk about this later, the Harry Chapin musical.
We did do that.
I've been working in the business now for 25 years, spanning stage, TV, film, commercial work, as well as teaching. Variety of levels, ages, and styles. I've recently announced my associate directorship with Toronto Musical Concerts that I've joined forces with Christopher Wilson.
We'll be talking about that for sure.
Yeah, which is super exciting.
Cool. Well, that's perfect. We're going to jump right into some music right now. So what would you like to throw it to?
Let's start it off with a bang,
yeah.
and a little bit of Sondheim to either to split our audience, and we'll start with Franklin Shepherd Inc. from Merrily We Roll Along.
Awesome!
Yeah,
all right,
my favorite songs.
We are sitting here with Ryan. We are going to hear some Sondheim here on Be Our Guest on Musical Theater Radio. So we are back here on Be Our Guest. You just heard an ABBA song, Does Your Mother Know, from the great show Mamma Mia. That was chosen by my co-host for the day. Who are we again?
I'm Ryan Kelly.
Ryan Kelly, that's right. That's who you are. So, Ryan, tell us a little bit about your background, where you went to school, what you've been doing, and all that sort of thing.
Okay. I grew up in Bonhead, Ontario. I went to high school in Bradford. I went to Sheridan in Oakville.
Just go back to Bradford.
Yeah, let's go back to Bradford, actually.
Yeah.
We had like a 6 degree of separation sort of thing in high school, didn't we?
We did, because I went to school at Banting in Alliston, and it was probably through Sears, right?
It was Sears.
Yep.
It was Sears, or we also had the Bradford Festival every couple of
I
years.
forgot about that.
Which was a little egomaniacal, I think, of ourselves. But I found that really interesting. And I also worked with your sister at Wonderland.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for that.
No. She's probably listening.
No, she's in Newfoundland right now, so
cool.
she doesn't care. She's running a campaign out there for the NDP, so she doesn't care.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Banting and Bradford were kind of like rival schools anyway, at least with the football, which I had no
There's football?
connection to.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So then our story continued
Yes,
together.
it did.
At Sheridan, I started in, I believe, 1993.
I think so, yeah.
Fall of 1993. Graduated in 96.
Mm-hmm.
Almost didn't graduate.
Didn't you?
Because I was short some vocal tutorials. So I had to go back and finish some, which was cool. Because, Christina James was amazing.
Oh, she was.
She was a force.
I loved her.
Yeah. Finished Sheridan. Enjoyed Sheridan.
Yeah.
I learned everything I needed to start out. I guess with the perspective that as an artist or creative type person or magic maker, we're always growing and we're always learning and we're improving. But Sheridan gave me the basics to get me out and get working, which is what I started to do. I was on cruise ships, spent about 1.5 years at sea, on and off. Did some summer stock, working out in Port Hope when it was called the Ganaraska Summer Theater.
Oh, okay.
Did some stuff with Drayton, and then this is 7 years. I did ships and musicals and summer stock, and then worked.
You were on the ships for 7 years?
No, on and off.
Oh, okay,
I went
good.
back and forth and doing musicals. So it had been 3 years at school. No, it was 4 years. 3 years at school and then 4 years.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, I want to do something else. And I was working at Fresh on Bloor Street when it was called Juice for Life.
Okay.
I realized that I just booked my a summer out in Drayton doing Damn Yankees, and Mamma Mia auditions came and went, and didn't get an audition, and so then one of the weekends that we were in Toronto, my friend Karen was in for an audition, and I was lying in the backseat of her car napping because we had a matinee at 2 that day. We had to drive back out to Drayton. And I hear this bang, 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 bang on the window, and I look up, and there's Noreen, the accompanist, and one of my assistant music directors that I did when I worked on House of Martin-Guerre at CanStage. And she goes, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, I'm having a nap. I have a matinee. And she goes, "No, whose car is this?" And I'm like, "It's Karen's. She's reading for blank, 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 blah, 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 whatever." And she goes, "Roll down the window." And I roll down the window. And she goes, "Do you know this song?" And she holds up Lay Your Love on Me. And I knew ABBA, right? So Lay All Your Love on Me. So I knew ABBA. And I was like, "Yeah, I know that song." She goes, Go wash your face. Be ready in 15 minutes. And I was like, "What?" So then I did, because I was like, "I'll do what you're told." And then and that is what got me 6 callbacks, and subsequently the role of Eddie in the first permanent cast here in Toronto.
I did not know that.
That was, yeah, because I couldn't get an audition for that show to save my life.
I saw that show. Why don't I remember? Oh, maybe I just
no,
remember,
I mean, you may have saw the cast with
maybe.
Louise Petra.
Yeah, maybe.
And they went on tour.
Okay.
And then our cast went into the Royal Alex after. But we still, luckily got to work with Phillida Lloyd, who's an incredible director and the original director. And we got to start from scratch. A lot of the characters were rewritten and recreated and rebuilt, and it was Phillida's, I think, original vision to make every cast very unique and special within its own chemistries. So,
that is very cool.
yeah, it was super cool.
Man, it's been so long since I've seen you. I'm like nothing.
And that was 2001.
I don't know.
Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I probably haven't seen you since we graduated.
Well, I mean, I know
maybe.
we've seen each other at a couple of
Maybe
reunions,
passing,
and of course, social makes us feel like we know each other.
Yeah,
or we
don't
see each other,
we don't
but
talk.
no.
But no, you played the Alex. That has always been my dream
my
place
God.
to.
The Royal Alex was such a trip, because I had gone to the Royal Alex when I was, I think, in grade, well, I don't know what grade I was in, 1988, so I was in grade 9, going into grade 10, and I think that was when, that was when the Tour of Cats came through Massey Hall. I have to go back to when I was 12 years old. 12 years old, I wanted to go see Cats for my 12th birthday. I was dying, and it was at the, that was at the Elgin.
It was at the Elgin. I saw it at the Elgin.
What did I see at the Royal Alex? Les Mis. That's what I saw.
That was there
Les
forever,
Mis.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I saw at the Royal Alex. Yeah, you're right.
I get
the
Cats and
Elgin
Les
was
Mis
the
mixed up
first time.
all the time. They're so similar.
Well, it's the same. It's a bunch of junk piled up on
It's
stage.
true.
A lot of people are singing songs about dying.
They could do them in rep. Just use the same junk.
I'm Jenny Annie Dots. It's the same thing.
It is totally.
Fuck. Oh, are we allowed to swear on here?
It's the internet. We can do whatever we
All right,
want.
okay,
It's
that's
my
true.
show.
Sorry.
You can swear all you want.
No, it was Les Mis that the Alex Les Mis, because it was the first time I noticed how vertical those seats were.
Oh, I love it.
And that I felt like I was on top of the stage the first time I saw Les Mis. Anyway, yeah, Cats was my 12th birthday present, which has no relevance whatsoever to this. But yeah, the Royal Alex was very cool. And then the reverse of that, being on the Royal Alex's stage, is just seeing this immense wall of seats and stanchions and balconies, just like it just lines up right in front. It's like a big tall wall. It's very cool.
Yeah, for people who don't know, because we have listeners all over the world.
Oh, cool.
The Royal Alexandra Theatre is when was it? Like the 20s? It's
Maybe
one of the
earlier.
oldest always running houses in North America for sure. And it's just this gorgeous, intimate
opulent
theater.
inside.
I love everything.
It's very old school though, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like the seats are small and uncomfortable.
Yes, they are.
They're
But
really vertical in a way that, like, when you're walking if you're in the top balcony and you enter at the back of the top balcony and then you go down to the front, you feel like you're climbing on the sort of a ladder going down those steps. It's really, really steep.
I feel like I can almost touch the stage though, even from the top balcony. It's just
because you're close.
Yeah.
because you're on top. It's verticality rather than what was the Pantages, which I don't even know what's that.
Turned into the can, and it's the Ed Mervish now.
The Ed Mervish now, which is like a hallway. It's so far. I remember seeing Saturday Night Fever there like years ago. That's an audition story.
That's
the closest I ever got to Broadway.
Really?
Yes. But the people were tiny because it's
a beast.
deep. Which I understand why they would put up like those. I think they put up walls.
They put up
They've
walls
done the
in the
same
back.
with the Elgin too, which is a beautiful stage as
the
well.
Elgin's nice too.
I've loved performing on the Elgin because I did a couple of pantos there with Ross Petty.
Man, you've done everything.
I did. I keep my finger in a lot of pies.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why well, I mean you fall in and out of love with it. I think, which is why I'm so happy that I teach. But that it keeps me. But okay. So what? Do you want a little more history after what happened after Mamma Mia? Like what happened? In the last 20 years?
To, you know what? do you want to throw to a song and then we can come back and keep talking? What would you like to hear now?
Okay. Well, seeing as we just talked about high school.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should play "In" from Carrie because I'm a huge Stephen King fan and I love that musical. Although I do have my criticisms of how it's developed into less of a horror musical and more into a don't bully people musical. Yeah. Which, I mean, it has those themes, but I miss the horror element. Yeah,
it's Stephen King. It should be blood and guts.
But I love a good ensemble opening number like in Beauty and the Beast, Provincial Town, and like Let's Have Lunch and Sunset Boulevard. These opulent, multi-charactered openings. And not unlike Beautiful and Heathers. This is a little darker, though. In from Carrie. Yeah. Totally, I fucking love it. It is hilarious, and the harmonies are slick. So, enjoy.
Well, let's listen to In from Carrie here on Be Our Guest, thanks to Ryan Kelly. So we just paid the bills here on Musical Theater Radio. Hey, commercials are a necessary evil, right? You got to make money somehow.
Believe me, I know they're a necessary evil.
Well, you were in commercials, right?
Yeah, I did like 30 commercials for a while. I had a really good string. In my 20s, I played a great slacker. And then in my 30s, I played a great, the 20s was the college slacker commercials. Yeah. And then the 30s was like the post-college slacker. I was the guy who called in tired for work for a Miller commercial. I was the guy who stayed in bed for a Benelin commercial.
I definitely saw that one.
So, a lot of it was, if I was unshaven, unshowered. It's weird about types, right? On stage, I consistently play the best friend, the funny guy, the friend. And then on film, I get cast as slacker, creep, stalker, drug dealer, villain. It never fails. I will never play a hero. I think I border that line between either I'm too good looking that I intimidate people, or that I still border that aesthetic where I can still be scary, which I don't mind at all. Actually, nice, because I love scary stuff.
So we are on the show Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. No worries. So we are sitting here with Ryan Kelly. We're learning a lot about him, how he can be creepy and a good-looking guy all at the same time. No. So let's learn more about Ryan and. Because I know you've been working at George Brown, right?
Yeah, I work at George Brown College part-time.
So that's a school here in Toronto. Yeah. So tell us a little bit how you are molding.
I prefer manipulating young minds.
It's true. Molding's the nicer way of saying it, but it is manipulation.
Well, molding, sure, okay.
Yeah, that's the politically correct, nice. In the school books...
They also say you're not supposed to swear in class, and well, that's gone.
Why? This is theater.
No, I think it has to do with just there's a lot more caretaking right now as far as what students are going to be sort of tidal waved with when they get to school, as far as and also to different neurodiversities. Learning disabilities or abilities, artistic abilities, and or struggling with how to communication abilities, what have you. There's a lot of accommodations, and so the rules are pretty. But I can't follow that one about swearing. No. That's just what and always in their journals they're like, oh, thank God I have a teacher who swears, and I'm like, all right, okay, so I'm doing all right.
See, I'm glad you're working with students from an actual professional. I'm at York University with a extracurricular theater company.
Okay, so, that's right.
So I can swear and say whatever the hell I want.
That's right. Yeah,
because I'm not
with
teaching
that
them.
grovelly, exactly
voice too. I always wanted to be Harvey Firestein.
Yeah, Harvey Firestein. Didn't we always want to be him?
He wants to be that. So oh my God,
we should do a show called Harvey and Harvey, and literally just talk like Harvey Firestein.
I've always told. I haven't been able to tell enough people this because they don't understand. I would love to have seen a show with Harvey Firestein and Carol Channing. Like those voices would have been just your head would have exploded.
The texture,
exactly.
In that show.
It would have been like, wow.
That's hilarious.
But I digress.
So I'll go back. But I'm not. But a lot of people ask about if I know so and so working at George Brown, and I'm not working at the George Brown Theater Department. I work at George Brown Dance. So cool. I have the opportunity, and I think the privilege in a way, to work with the ballet and the modern stream dancers. I teach. I'm kind of like the acting program there. Because I teach 4 programs, which is the like a dance prep 1 year. I teach a ballet or modern stream 1 and 2 year, and then I teach a commercial class, which runs from September to August. It's a full year program.
So you're there all the time.
Yeah, but what's lovely is they also know that I'm a performer, and so we have an understanding that if I have to leave for a semester or so, I'll find a sub to cover, and the job is always mine when I come back, which is wonderful. Because the relationships that I formed with the students over 2 or 3 years, something that I didn't know that I would enjoy is going out for coffee with my graduate students and doing like a mentorship conversation. Like, what are you doing now? Let me help you find an agent. What websites can I point you toward? There are auditions coming up, or tell them about the Fringe Festival, or just for me, giving them. Just like you're doing it right, sort of, makes me feel like, because none of us knew whether we were doing it right, and none of us did do it right. There is no right, right? Like, So, and yet, so many of us from Sheridan are still connected to the arts or to what we love or what we're passionate about. I think young people today. Kids these days, I can't believe I hear that.
Back in my day,
get off my lawn. But I think we are also as old people now.
Yeah.
But I think young people are more accustomed to it. Is the instant gratification of technology.
Yes.
And the old Insta influencing is a way of making money and a way of possibly facilitating increasing your opportunities in art and elevating your whatever you want to do in life. But the old ways of getting there still hold true.
Very true. Yes.
Go to class, take dance class, take acting class, take a course, go to auditions. You can't just stand in front of your iPhone and dance in your bedroom and become a Broadway star. Yeah. You have to swallow the fear and go to some auditions.
Yeah.
The risking failure, I think, is the biggest lesson that I think that's where wisdom comes from. I guess as older people is where we understand that failure isn't the end of the world or isn't a direct reflection on our value.
Yes.
And that's what provides us with wisdom to make better choices and et cetera, et cetera. Young people are so afraid of failing, and basically my acting classes get up and fall on your face 100 times and know that you don't lose. It doesn't chip anything away off you. It actually builds resolve.
Yep.
And so as an acting teacher, a lot of my pedagogy, is that how you even say that word?
I'm going to say,
I always want to say
I think it's
pedagogy. And I
pedagogy.
don't think I really have a pedagogy, but overall it's about trying your best and doing something that makes you uncomfortable. The terror never goes away. You just get used to it.
Oh yeah, it's. I
Which
know.
is why my hands are shaking right now, and I'm talking a mile a minute, because adrenaline and
Yes.
passion together make this generate an amazing sense of amplification, I think. And
But it also shows that you're genuine. Everything
I care
it's
about this,
exactly,
you know?
and that's your passion and your genuinality.
Where my genuinality?
I don't
like
know.
that.
I'm gonna copyright
Write
that.
it down.
I'm gonna
Put
trademark
it on the list with like embiggen and cromulent in the Simpsons universe.
Okay, yeah.
But I think we're really lucky this way, you and I,
Yeah.
because we get to, over time, eventually go. There's the way you're describing how this show came together and how the station came together. You took all the pieces of all the things that you've done over time that you liked and that
Yes.
you loved and that you were passionate about and that you realized you're good at, and then you don't have to convince yourself that you're not an imposter, right? You put them all together, and this is what happened, and now you get to live in a state of being uplifted with what you do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really easy to say, not always easy to do.
No.
But as you get older, you try to like set your life up so it goes in that direction as best you can.
Yeah, you take all the things that you've either failed at or went wrong and learn from them, right?
Yeah.
And and I think that's a lot of theater people need to know, and especially the younger ones. I know we're working with. I'm at York University. I think I said that. I remember.
Yeah.
We talked on or off the air.
Yeah.
Working with these kids, and I love watching when their eyes go, "Hello, I get
Yeah.
it." That is a great moment.
Yeah.
and
It's a breakthrough moment.
It is, and it's so good. And when they fall and fail, I'm happy in a certain way. Right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I think, and I'm sure there are many listeners on this show that aren't, say, performers or artists necessarily. They just love music theater.
Yes.
And I think the idea of failure actually keeps what I'm sorry to offend your non-artist friends out there, but
They're
in
not
class we
listening.
call them muggles. So, but I think a lot of muggles can learn from risking failure as well, because I think a lot of people would, I don't know, just live a more vital life experience.
Yeah.
Which I think, as you know, and I mean, like I've now said like 3 or 4 times as we're getting older, but you sort of appreciate those moments that where you did take a risk, whether you failed or not,
Yeah.
or succeeded or not. I guess that's
Yes.
more of it. We don't aim to fail. I mean, maybe we do as artists, because we kind of like push ourselves so to the precipice
Yeah.
of stakes
Yeah.
and objectives and intensity, which is something like we talked about with Rod Maxwell's classes back at Sheridan.
Yes.
The 7 levels of tension.
Yes. So
I
good.
use that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Rod, I remember in rehearsal, because the levels that you perform at, an artist performs at, is like a 5 or a 6, which is like living in a state of suspicion or passion, right? And I remember rehearsing with Rod, and all of a sudden him yelling at the stage, 6!
Yes.
6! Because that was the passion level. And I find myself doing the same thing at George Brown. I'll go by a class and I'll yell 6, and all of a sudden their legs will go higher, and they're
That's awesome.
It's very exciting.
Do you make them do? Will you come into the parlor? Said the spider to the fly.
No,
the prettiest
no.
little parlor that
I-
ever did.
I don't even know. Okay, so that's really interesting, because I can still remember Song of the Ski.
I didn't do that one.
You didn't do that
No.
one?
So just for the listeners, when we were at Sheridan, one of the teachers, Rod
The
Maxwell,
great Rod Maxwell.
would make us learn these poems, and we would have
And they
to.
were dry as
Oh.
fuck.
They were like coming to my parlor. Said the spider. Did you do Chicago?
Yes.
The big shoulders and big smoker.
Hog Butcher of the World.
Yes.
That one.
Just all this stuff, and we didn't always.
On his blindness, when I consider how my life is spent. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Um,
We did. There's. You know what? We can come. You know what? Let's talk about Sheridan, and then just.
all right, then I know what song we're going
Okay,
to.
what are we gonna do?
We're going to I Wish I Could Go Back to College by After Melvin Hughes.
Because I loved, my favorite role was Trekkie. I
Nice.
loved playing Trekkie.
Where did you play Trekkie?
I did it in Sudbury, and I did it at the Citadel in Edmonton a few years ago.
That's a show I wanted to see, and I just never get a chance to.
We can also talk about dream roles, because the last
Oh,
few
that-
years has been
yep.
all about me just checking off one box after the
That's
other, getting to do
fantastic.
roles that I've dreamed my whole life of playing.
Awesome.
But we are going to go back to college right now.
Let's go back to college. You're listening to Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I'm sitting here with the fantastic Ryan Kelly. I'm Jean-Paul Yovanoff. Let's go back to college. It is Saturday, and you are listening to the show Be Our Guest. I am your host, Jean-Paul Yovanoff. We are out and about, out on location. We are sitting here with the wonderfully talented Ryan Kelly. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Awesome. So we left it at when we were talking about college and going back to college.
Yes.
Do you remember college?
Sheridan
College.
It's funny. I remember it, but only bits and pieces. Like, there's so much that I don't remember.
It was an intense 3 years, though. Because we were there like 9-10 hours a day, 5 days a week.
5 days a week.
And then Saturday sometimes and Sundays.
A lot of times weekend stuff. And if we weren't in class, we were in studios or in our apartments across the street.
See, you were across the street. I wasn't. Yeah. I was, for the first 2 years, like down Rebecca, like 45 minutes an hour away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, out by Graham. You know where Graham was?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know Graham. Well, I know where Graham is now. He's being a superstar overseas.
Yeah, I know. He's in England doing his thing over there.
He's a genius.
And we can talk about all the people who went on to do stuff, and then talk about me who didn't, and then we can talk about
the people that we hate, and the people that we love.
You know who you are. But, yeah, Sheridan College is a musical theater program. It was 3 years, intense, just every hour was in either a dance studio or a singing class or an acting class.
It
was totally
because
Fame.
I grew up watching Fame on television, and not Fame the musical. No, that's a different sort of beast anyway.
Yeah,
nobody needs to talk about Fame the musical. So
I do have songs from it though.
Yeah,
really
but sure. I mean, it isn't without its good songs.
No, everything has almost its merits.
Almost everything.
Almost everything.
But Sheridan at that time was a diploma program.
Yes.
And I barely passed high school. And I was a terrible student. I just didn't get things done. I wasn't good at it. And so failed a lot of stuff. And then ended up taking an extra year. And then saw in the course calendar for Sheridan, it was like, gotta sing, gotta dance, audition for us. And I was like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. I didn't even know that existed. I guess I won't be going to school for gerontology now, and so yeah, I know, right?
What?
I know. So then I went to Sheridan and auditioned, and then we on day one we had like 53 people in class.
I think 50. I actually have that list of the phone numbers somewhere.
Oh,
the
really?
original list of all our names.
I
and all
think
our phone numbers.
if I sat down and really worked, I could probably come up with everybody's name, because I don't think I've forgotten officially anybody's like. That they existed.
Did you know? Sorry, let's go back.
Yeah,
I turned down Sheridan.
Where did you want to go?
I was thinking about at the time going to York. So I went into Sheridan
just for acting
to try. Yeah. Okay. So I went to Sheridan, blah blah blah, and Rod was on my audition panel. I know. So I sang my songs. I did my piece, and then they gave me. They said, well, you want to come in? Come in now. Or
early acceptance.
Early acceptance. Yeah, come in. And I said, I don't know. I actually said, I don't know.
Figure things out.
Exactly. So then I went to the other auditions and went, you know what? Let's go to Sheridan. So weird.
I'm glad you did.
I'm happy I did too. It was the right choice at the right time.
I forgot, because I said earlier we were in Midsummer Night's Dream. Did I say Pajama Game?
You did say Pajama Game.
Okay, it was Pajama Game. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there another show that we did? And then Harry Chapin.
Harry Chapin was all our third.
That in this segment.
Okay.
So yeah, first year, chopped the class in half.
Yeah, sure.
And then second year, we even still lost some people.
Yeah. My first year, you know when they come in and bring you in for the interviews after
first term. Yeah.
To a person, every professor there, every teacher said, have you thought about talking to the counselor?
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. And I was like, no.
No, I'm doing okay.
No, that's
weird.
It was very weird.
Yet they kept you.
They
didn't be like, oh, you see a counselor, get rid of him.
He had talent, but he was just messed up. Weren't we all messed up?
Yeah. And some of us were more messed up after we left, which always dismayed me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I benefited a lot from that program.
I loved that program. It was hell to go through because it
Yeah.
was so much, but I'm so glad. I learned so much, and the people who were there, like the people ahead of us and behind us, and even in our year, so fucking talented.
Oh yes,
I can't
I
like.
love the fact that so many people that we know from that school, and even still, I mean, they're doing amazing things
Oh, yeah.
with new work,
For sure.
putting out some amazing new musicals. Leslie Arden,
Yeah.
Just had the House of Martin-Guerre play
I
there,
didn't get a
which
chance
is
to see it.
super exciting.
Unfortunate.
That's the first Canadian production since the one that I did in '97 at Can Stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they did do a concert version of like a Reader's Digest concert version of it at Confederation's. Is that what it's called? Confederation Theater, Confederation
The one
Center
at-
Theater in Charlottetown.
Yeah, I think so.
Last summer,
Something like that.
yeah, they did that. So it's coming up on its like 20. Well, we did it at 22nd.
Holy crap.
Because they did it at the Alumni, and then they did it at the Goodman Theater in Chicago before here. 25th anniversary of
Something.
Anyhow, it's still. I mean, this school is amazing, and
Yeah.
the facility they've improved. a lot,
I don't
understand,
even
too.
want to know because
I
we
haven't
had
seen it either.
we didn't have anything, but
No,
it was
we
better
had
than
lots.
sorry compared
Better
to what
than
was
the
before
portables.
us. They had the couple of years before us, not even that long before
No, like
us.
a year or two.
They were
before
doing
us.
all their stuff in portables, so they would have to go outside and during snowstorms have to come inside and come into the dance studios and go outside. It's just
grimy, but we had the G wing. They built the G wing.
yeah.
But they also built us in this big. There was like this big open pit that went all the way from the basement.
It was like a tower of
to
5
the-
stories.
Yeah, it was like a big open, and so we not only got new dance studios, but we got spit on by the business students
Yeah.
every other day.
They
We got
love
hot-
when you're singing in the basement.
Yeah. Anyway, it's funny because the weird switch that you get when you start teaching or when you grow up,
Yeah.
and then you go, oh, those teachers were like just as you know, improvising their life as much as I am.
Yeah.
Greg Andrews is still there. He
Is he?
still teaches there. Yeah.
This is so relevant to all you people who are listening who don't know who any of these people are. It's like, I'm sitting in London, England going, who the fuck is that?
Know how awful it is to go to a party and be the +1 with a bunch of Sheridan students.
Yes.
You are all our +1 today.
Yeah, so welcome. You come to Toronto, you visit us, we will say
Well,
hi.
we were
and
talking
party.
about those really great classes that Rod taught, which was
Yes.
just about delivery, how to deliver text, and also what I thought was a really good class was act pacing, which was mapping out what you're going to do with a song.
Yeah. With
on
a chord
stage.
at that point.
We
had
did
to do it with chords.
like
Unlike you people
with a
nowadays, you
microphone
youngins.
cord. That's really
Back
funny.
in
We had
our
to learn
day.
how to flip it
Yeah.
and flick it. But we would draw a map like and then railroad across
Yeah.
the front of the stage and ... and where you would phrase your eyes. And eye phrasing is something that I bring up in rehearsal with students a lot.
Nice.
And people are like, or even when I deal with people, our colleagues and
Mm-hmm.
peers, and they're like, I said, try phrasing your eyes on that. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're breaking up your thought with where your lyric, like when you're singing a lyric and you want to draw your audience in, you want to leave that window open as long as possible.
Yeah.
So if you phrase your eyes, if you're dodging your eyes all over the place, you don't give your audience a moment to get inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something that I think at least I took one of the
Yeah.
key things that I took from working with Rod Maxwell at Sheridan College.
Yeah, I took from it the stressing of certain words and using the words if it's crackle, making it
delicious.
sound. Yes,
Yeah,
making the
really
sound what it is.
using that word, yeah.
Yeah.
That's onomatopoeia.
So when I'm directing shows with the students, I try to impart this stuff onto them because
Chew your word, like
Yeah.
really love
Yep.
feeling that word in your mouth, right?
yeah, and I'll make them do it again. I'll say, do it again,
Chew it.
say it again,
Make it delicious.
and until
Yeah.
they figure out, oh, this is what there. Now
Yeah.
you get the word.
Well, see, I think it all came down, boiling down to our classes boiled down to our third-year production of The Lies and Legends, which is that really well-known Broadway musical that Harry Chapin penned.
Yes, well, basically, it's one of the first jukebox musicals, really.
Actually, you're totally
Yeah,
right.
because I don't know
I
when
never
that was
thought about
written.
That.
was.
I don't think they certainly didn't call it jukebox.
Oh, not that
musical.
time. That was when
But
was that?
like,
The early '80s. I don't even
Was
know.
like Ain't Misbehavin'.
Yeah,
I
that would
guess.
be a jukebox as well. That was the
Would
'70s.
Crazy for You qualify as a jukebox even though it's got a story?
Does Mamma Mia.
See, yes,
See, and
I thought that's where
it's-
jukebox musical kind of came out of, was
Yeah.
the era of Mamma Mia.
It's hard to tell. Like when there's a story involved, I don't know. Like Jersey Boys has a
Jersey
story,
Boys
but
has a
things
story
like
Forever
oh,
Plaid.
Forever Plaid is a ish story.
Well, it's literally like a radio station
Yeah.
playing. You know, I mean.
But the Lieber and Stoltz. Damn, what's it called again?
Is it closer than no?
No,
Lieber
no,
and
no.
Stoltz.
Hound Dog and Poison Ivy and all those. Why can't I remember?
Smokey Joe.
Smoking Joe's
Smoky
Cafe.
Joe's
See,
Cafe.
but that's just
Yes,
song
that
after
is-
song after song,
yeah.
right? So that I don't know anymore.
I know nothing. I realized after this conversation, I can't label or quantify anything in our. My mind is totally blown now because I thought jukebox musicals kind of existed post Mamma Mia and post Mamma Mia, at least that term. But now here we are listing off 1,000.
Jacques Brel from the
Stop it.
'60s. I know we can keep. I
I'm
did
blowing my
Jacques Brel, so
mind.
I know what point does it, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, back to the 70s, Harry Chapin and
Harry-
the dance band on the Titanic. So that was a special show we got to do.
You know what? I do love the songs though.
I actually
Harry
have
Cha-
2 Harry Chapin records.
I
on
bought them
vinyl
afterwards.
because of that
yes.
show.
Whatever we think of, like the show was the show. It was what.
Look, our dream show at that time was to do Into the Woods, and then we
Yeah.
got Harry Chapin, and then Pajama Game. So one can understand why we were somewhat disappointed
Did
by
you know
the
they-
momentum that we had that year.
Do you know what? Did you know they consider me not a singer?
I know.
Like what the hell is that? Okay, you don't know, but yeah, I was pretty good
He's
at that
a good
point.
singer. He's
I was,
always been a
but yeah,
good
I got all the
singer.
non-singing parts.
Yeah, but you also got all the character. And
I got the
comedy
character parts, which makes sense. I
which
didn't-
makes sense
but
because
still,
of typing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Hashtag always the creep.
yep.
Hashtag always the comedy guy. For those of you just tuning in. But yeah, I that show ended up being quite emotional for us, especially with how so much of his songs are about community and connection and relationships.
Yeah.
And so we had an opportunity to take music and theaterize it.
Yeah.
I guess in a way. But then we finished with singing All My Life's a Circle, and it's actually a really beautiful song about connection and about repetition and generation and art and beauty and life. And I guess I only realize now the epiphany that I'm having and how much my life was changed by doing Lies and Legends. Go out, everybody, get out to your local Harry Chapin. What?
I don't even know.
Cellar.
Shit,
Go
yes.
to your closest HMV.
As a kid, no, they're HMV. Really, Sam the Record Man here in
Get to
Toronto.
Sam the
Yeah.
Record Man. Get to your music notes here in Toronto. Pick up your copy.
I don't you know what. I don't even think they have that show. Like, there's a record of it, but I don't think it's been put on CD.
A record of the show,
Of,
not just of Harry Chapin.
Of
songs,
Harry
but
Chapin,
of
Lies and Legends. There's
Oh,
an
I didn't
actual
know
cast
that.
recording of it.
I wonder if you could find it on YouTube. Like, I wonder if there's some because I've never investigated.
Yes, I've looked when I was collecting. Like, I've collected records like crazy.
Yeah.
Of cast albums. I've been looking at that, and it's really hard to find. I know they've never made a digital copy of it. At least not that I've seen, but. Yeah, I would
I'm
love
gonna
to
keep my eye out for you too.
It's
then.
really hard. It's so
'Cause
rare.
I'll
It's
bet.
Very rare.
I'll bet.
Yeah, but
Well, but there are really rare. Okay, so I don't. I'm one of those weird extroverted introverts who
Yes.
doesn't like leaving
Yep.
the house unless I have to.
I hear you.
And so, and the fact that I live in one room makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
But you can find amazing pirated versions of musicals on YouTube, and I found some original Assassins footage.
Yeah.
And it was stunning to see Annie Golden. She was on Orange Is the New Black,
Yeah.
but she played Squeaky Fromm in the original production, doing Unworthy of Your Love, which is the most beautiful rendition of that show. I love that song. Again, I will divide your audiences now with my passion for Sondheim. I can be very clear on what I like and what I don't like, and yes, there is some Sondheim that I do not entirely. It does not entirely resonate with the vibration of my soul, but there's almost not a single Sondheim that I haven't wanted to be in, or thankfully had a chance to be in.
Well, why don't we go with that? Why don't we play something, and then we'll come back and do your dream
All right.
rolls.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw you a couple of options then.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm gonna force y'all to listen to some Sondheim, but I want JP can decide whether we'll do "Unworthy of Your Love," which I just mentioned, or "It Takes Two" from Into the Woods.
Let's do Assassins. We were talking about Assassins.
Okay.
Let's do Assassins.
Great. Very and timely, I'd say, for today's political climate.
All right, so you are listening to Be Our Guest here at Musical Theater Radio. I am here sitting here with Ryan Kelly. I'm Jean-Paul Yovanoff, and we are about to hear something from Assassins right now. We are having so much fun here on Saturday. It's so much fun. You are listening to Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio.
You're missing all the in between stuff too.
Yes, there's maybe one day I will have like the backstage and
off the record
stuff.
He is Jean-Paul Yovanoff, and you are listening to Be Our Guest.
Okay, I've been replaced. Awesome, Ryan, you're taking over.
What were we going to talk about? Dream roles.
Dream roles. What shows and roles have you always wanted to be in or have been in so you can knock it off your bucket list?
Okay, so at 45 years old now,
yeah,
there are some shows that I will never knock off my bucket list because they were dream roles that I'm just too old to play.
Yep,
and
I hear you.
Those two, well, the one is Bobby and You're in Town. I would love to play Bobby and You're in Town, but I'm too old to play Bobby and You're in Town.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful show. I really love the show, and I love its sort of a sense of dissonance that runs through it. Actually,
I saw that show on Broadway. I've only seen 2 shows on Broadway. I saw Rent. That's all I'm saying.
You saw the original Rent?
No, not the original.
Oh,
I saw it with one of the Backstreet Boys.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Ooh.
I forget which one.
That's
but,
exciting. Not that
it's
exciting.
Rent. And I saw You're in Town. And
was it stunning?
Oh, I was blown away.
Yeah.
I loved that show.
You're in Town. Toronto Musical Concerts is doing You're in Town this fall as our inaugural, or like our opener for the season.
Well, damn, you keep me informed because I will promote it on my social media and talk
TMC,
about all that stuff.
TorontoMusicalConcerts.com. Check it out.
Yeah.
We'll be doing three, possibly 4 shows this year, or 4 segments.
Yeah.
You're in Town is our first segment. Cocktails and Candy Canes, which is our holiday show that we do at Jazz Bistro and at Balmy Beach Club, will be happening. And then the spring leading into summer is mysterious still. We don't know what we're going to do entirely yet. We have, we're buzzing.
Well, you got to have ideas. You can't just...
But we just did Parade a few weeks ago.
Yes, I missed that. I was so unhappy.
That was a stunning experience because I am not a huge fan of JRB.
No.
And it didn't entirely change me, but I gained a little more respect for his being able to construct a good musical. Because I think Parade is a great musical.
Yeah.
And it's not done enough.
No. There's so many shows that are just not done enough, and some that will never be done again. But we can talk about that after your dream rolls.
Okay, so then Bobby, what else? I always wanted to be in the ensemble of Book of Mormon.
That would have been so fun.
I don't want to be the lead. Like, I don't want to have to sing all that shit 8 shows a week. Like, that's way too much pressure.
Yeah.
But if I can just, like, strut around and do, like, jazz loops during 2x2 and do Turn It Off and tap dance and stuff, that would be so fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I am too rickety of old man to play a fresh-faced Mormon twink.
Stupid aging.
But I mean, a lot of stuff I've got to check off, which, and in very short-lived opportunities, but I had to or got to learn the whole score. I've sung the Baker in Into the Woods, which was a dream. I did Amos in Chicago, which was a dream. I played John Wilkes Booth in Assassins,
That'd be
which
cool.
is a dream.
Oh yeah, that would
Oh
be
my
great.
God, singing the Ballad of Booth, I was like,
Such a great song.
and then it never fails. After I do a concert or a cabaret, there's always someone who comes up to me afterwards like, "Oh my God, I had no idea you could sing." And I'm like, "Thanks, I think," or like, "You should be auditioning for Stratford. They need you." And I'm like, "They don't need more white people in Stratford. Like, they're not hiring more 40-year-old white men. Believe me." They'll leave me after my like one audition for Stratford in 20 years because I'm like, "We have you." They're like, "We have 100 of you over here." I guess I'd like to eventually do Bobby and Company, but I'm also in my mid-40s now, and they're really playing with gender reversal in that.
Like
show
the
too,
one
which
in London,
yeah,
right?
which I think is very cool. Actually, I liked the idea of that. But what I would like to see, rather than gender switching, is just complete gender mixing up. In that the characters are lesbian, gay, and straight, and then that way, like the three girls that Bobby is courting throughout, doesn't necessarily become three boys, but can be a variety of genders, and I think that could be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't think I'll get an opportunity to play Bobby in a full production.
Maybe in a concert version.
Maybe in a concert version. No, well, I don't, not in my concert version. The great Jeff Tyler was our Bobby last year in Company. But what else? Well, what I haven't done is Sweeney Todd. So I'm not totally in love with the movie because they took out so many great songs.
Yeah.
Although I did think it was a fine film adaptation of the piece. And while I'm full of contradictions, and while Johnny Depp, I'm kind of like on the fence with him of late, and even with his performance, it gave me hope to be like, oh, I could play Sweeney Todd. Like I could totally, like I don't have to be Len Cariou. I don't have to be George Maswell. I mean George Maswell's a fucking amazing performer and a good friend too. So I mean how can I aspire to be George Maswell? He is a mountain of a man.
I hope you're listening, George. And you send
I love that guy.
A muffin basket to Ryan.
I prefer soaps and jam.
Okay, never mind. Get rid of the muffin. I'll take the muffin basket if you want. But
but I thought, I could play Sweeney Todd, and that would be a dream. But one of the biggest things, when I was in Sheridan, we had to find songs to sing in class.
Yeah.
And I only knew like 3-4 musicals, like Sound of Music, Wizard of Oz, because they were on television, Cats, because I saw it when I was 12, West Side Story.
Yeah.
That might be it. Like, that might be what I thought musicals were.
Yep.
Oh, and that I knew a Phantom of the Opera, which I've never seen, and I don't really care to, because I don't want to ever... I don't care about it. But we had to listen to records in the library.
Oh, yeah.
To find our material. And I found falsettos.
Nice.
And I thought, this was in 1994, and I went, I want to play Marvin. And last year, I got invited out to Winnipeg Jewish Theatre by Ari Weinberg to do falsettos out there with a cast out in Winnipeg. And that was the ultimate dream come true. That part is so complicated, and I love turning something on its head, especially if people don't like it. I like making people go like, oh yeah, well I'm going to make you like it, and then I'm going to make you feel conflicted about why you like it.
Yeah. And
Marvin gets pinned as such a selfish and indulgent and cold and unthinking character, and as someone who knows what it was like to deal with coming out and knows what it's like to go through the process of really hating yourself or wishing you were different, I found like I could really dig into Marvin's trying his best and he's failing. And we talked about failure. I don't know if that was on or off the record. We talked about failure.
We talked about failure a lot, but I'm not sure.
But Marvin fails a lot in that show. He fails at his marriage. He fails at changing his or controlling his sexuality. He fails at raising his son. He fails at actually, he fails at keeping a psychiatrist from marrying his ex-wife, and he fails at maintaining a love relationship at first. And then I think there's even a sense of I don't want to give away the ending for anyone who doesn't know, but I think there's a sense of failure that he can't save his lover from his fate as well, and that gave me a reason to fall in love with Marvin and play him in a vulnerable state with the armor of someone who is impervious, and in the end, people understood that, because I was very grateful that some reviews were like, I normally hate Marvin, but this time I actually liked him. And I was like, phew, because, you know, you never want to alienate your audience.
No.
And I find that I'm doing that more with, as I get older, I'm starting to direct as well, and get on the other side of the table. And I like to turn a lot of things on its head, which is actually turns my own opinion about some things over as well. I got to direct. I like to do things in stages, I think, and I've directed a lot of like school musicals and junior musicals. And then I went, okay, and then I wanted to teach more sophisticated students, so fortunately got drawn into the teaching the college age, but. I wanted to direct a full musical, so I got invited last year to direct a musical for a youth company for Main Stage Theater, which is a professional company of youth. So they do pay for the opportunity to be part of it, but they are treated on a very professional level. And I got invited to direct. And I needed a job, and I was like, I need a job, and I want to direct. And I got recommended by my friend Sasha Dennis, who's in Come From Away right now. We did Avenue Q together in Edmonton. And so I had an interview with Alain Richer, I think, or Riker. I would like to say Alain Richer, but I'm not sure, actually. Alain, Al, if you're listening, how are you, man? Newsies, they're doing Newsies soon. They're going to be on stage in a couple weeks. But we had a great interview, and then he told me the musical they were doing, and I hated that musical. And I was like, oh.
You still haven't even told us what it is.
I know.
Are you holding it back?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's The Secret Garden. I just think it's so blah. I find the book sloppy. I find the characters two-dimensional. I think the mom is such a bitch. Like, it's just like the Rose is so miserable. And I also hear from people, like, whenever someone like loves The Secret Garden, I often hear people go, oh, well, that's a real singer's show. Like, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to sing it really well. And then when I, like, pirated a bunch of Secret Garden to, like, steal ideas for my own production, it was a lot of community theater people really wanking with the music.
Yeah.
You know, chewing the scenery with their overwrought dramatics. And I just thought it was wanky. I just thought it was pat and pretty, and then so I had a closer look at it, and I went, okay, so how do you extract something from something that you don't like? How do you then turn it into something that you do like? And everything that I didn't like about it, I was like, I have to reverse that. Okay, so I find it boring, so I have to make it exciting. I find it kind of up its own ass, so I have to get it out of itself and kind of tell a greater story, like really focus on storytelling. And I find the music can be a little boring and repetitive. So how do I incorporate real character progression, and or what can I tell visually through this story to move the story go forward, even though the character may be standing in one place doing a park and bark, you know? So what I loved about it was that it was a ghost story. So I made it into a horror. And it was the best. I don't know if I don't mean to say mine was the best. I mean, what I mean is like it turned into like the best time for me.
Yeah.
All the dreamers who were normally in white wispy clothes were in like black from head to toe. And Lily's Eyes, which I think is the dumbest song on earth. I don't know why, but I just think it's so dumb. But so instead we had a funereal shawl over Lily's face, so you couldn't see her eyes through that. Like I was like, turn everything backward, make everything reverse. It was really exciting and certainly gratified at the end by hearing parents say, yeah, I was really afraid this was going to be a boring show. I've seen this show and it was not boring, and it was the most exciting and interesting version. And whether it's the most interesting or most this or most that, what I was able to do was turn a sow's ear into a silk purse, I guess, in that way. And I gave my young people an experience quite different from any other experience that they would have. Mm-hmm. I really ended up falling in love with the piece as a whole. Mm-hmm. But that's what I love about musicals, is they're so complexly they're structured with complexity.
Okay, thank you. I would have get that word I'm not accepting.
They're structured with such complexity that's why there can be so many different versions of each show. And yet I find it interesting that so much of the industry is hell bent on cookie cuttering the ones that work, I think there's more to be found in a lot of our musicals rather than going back to no shade, Hal Prince, but there are other ways to do shows too.
Well, I've always wanted to do one show, and nobody steal this because it's my idea. I've had it for a long time. Godspell. I'm not a fan. I like the music, and but I find every production is exactly the same. Yeah. And it's so dumb. Like, it is so dumb every time. These clowns. I'm like, this makes no sense. I've always wanted to do it, and if there's a producer out there who'll give me an opportunity, I want to direct the show as a televangelist.
Oh, that's very cool.
So we have the TV screens. We've got Jesus as a televangelist. You got the choir in the back. Yeah. And to include like the social media and the live aspect, so we have people with actual cameras. So you see on the TV.
That's really cool.
So I've always wanted to do that, and because I just find Godspell just.
Well, I mean the design of it. Is very late 60s, early 70s.
So much
obviously.
So, yeah.
The mimes and the clowns and the wearing clothes made out of yarn and things like that. Like, it's kind of like...
But it's 2019.
But it's 2019.
Stop doing that.
Well, the thing is, Godspell's relevance has been reduced as, say, the infrastructure of religion has been reduced over the last 25, 30, 50 years, right? So we have to find a way to... I mean, either make it a period piece. Yep. But then, if it is an actual period piece and it's Godspell, then we would take it back to the zeros, and then they'd be singing songs from the 60s in the zeros, which doesn't make any sense. And we have Jesus Christ Superstar anyway. Yeah. Which does make sense. Actually, and that was a dream role that I got to play, actually. I got to sing Jesus in a youth production. I was mentoring some young people with the Toronto... youth theater, and that was another dream that I never thought I would get to sing. Yeah. I can't. I'm not Ted Neal. Like Ted Neal, oh my god, I can sing a G sharp on a good day, right? So, and then that also. But I learned to sing a B. Because I was scared not to, singing opposite Erica Peck in Rocky Horror Picture Show up in Sudbury. I had to sing a B in Time Warp, and I think it's B or B flat, and it wrecked me. Wasn't worth it, but it gave me this amazing texture.
So you could do Trekkie, right? I have to say. All right, so let's go listen to a song. Okay. We've been talking and talking.
I know.
It's awesome. It's fantastic, but sometimes I want to hear a song.
Okay, I know what song I want to hear.
What do you want to put on?
I want to hear from Falsettos. I want to hear What Would I Do?
What Would I Do from Falsettos. Awesome. So you are listening to Be Our Guest. Our guest is Ryan Kelly. I'm Jean-Paul Yovanoff, your host. So let's listen to something.
Let's try to say a full sentence.
Falsettos. There we go. It is Saturday afternoon. I am having so much fun just talking and reminiscing and bringing back memories with Ryan Kelly here on Be Our Guest. Ryan, thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Not
This is so exciting.
inviting me. We're in your place. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, and you're always welcome.
Well,
and
thanks.
the legendary Penny Lois Lane, my dog, is also on the couch with you right now.
Hi, Penny.
And she is buried under a pile of blankets and pillows because she feels insecure when too many people talk for too long. It's weird. It's a very quiet household around here. For someone who is a singer and a musician, there is never any music playing.
But don't you do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? This is absolutely nothing we were going to talk about. But
I would, in all the tests, I pass as introvert.
Me too.
Yeah. But I've heard the term ambivert, which is like ambidextrous. Ambivert means you. But then I've also heard I'm an introverted extrovert, which I said earlier. And I think that's definitely more my style. I would definitely feel safer doing a show for 100 or 1,000 strangers than to perform in front of my family or even even to audition. There's a different sense of nerves for sure. So I think, but my introversion, I think, provides me with time out. Yeah. And I need that time out.
I think so. Because being performers, we're always on. And it's so
hard. That's what I found doing falsettos last year was it had been a while that I had done a show that had a full rehearsal period and then a run. It had been a couple years. And because I'd been focusing on doing some direction, teaching. And then I had a couple of injuries and a surgery that kept me kind of off grid for a few months here and there. But I realized the exhaustion that I experienced after falsettos was not, it's a hell of a show. That said, a lot of it had to do with the social energy that I wasn't used to doing. Yeah. Even 8 hours a day in rehearsal, and not necessarily being I didn't mind being present and rehearsing, but also having to talk to people and laugh and socialize and deal with the world. Where I think a lot of us are a little world weary with the state of politics, the state of the environment, the state of our planet, the state of social media, and I rely a lot on my downtime to I would just go home and sleep and then wake up and go to work. There was no socializing. There was no social time out there on that project.
I'm not a fan of humans in general.
Why
do you think I do this? I'm in my studio on radio.
What did I say about Facebook earlier? I said I liked people a lot more when I knew less about them.
It's so true.
It's so true.
Man, I don't need to know what you ate or
I don't
what
need
you
to know about your
anything almost.
Your engagement picnic with your hipster hats and your perfect lives.
Yeah, and if you comment on them and tell them I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
You get offended. What is with you people? Don't post it if you don't want me to answer.
You can't take it, then don't
Exactly. Oh.
Great. I guess I should prepare for comments and what have you at the end. I'm ready, motherfuckers.
Go. Go on the social media. Go to our Facebook account, Musical Theater Radio. Go to our Twitter account at MTR_tweets and tell us how much you hate or love Ryan right now. Let the world know how you feel.
Well, I do like to draw a line in the sand, I always tell my students, I said, you never want your audience to be indifferent about you.
Yeah.
You always want a good or a bad review. Okay? If I don't get a good or a bad review, then I feel like if I'm not mentioned in the review, then I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
But I love a good bad review.
Oh,
Come on, if I can set someone on fire about something, even if it's something that they don't like, then I'm like, I'm still doing my job. So.
And who cares? That's one person's opinion.
Never gonna please everyone.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. Then.
That's why I stopped working with little kids, though.
They're very opinionated.
No, not the little kids.
These 4-year-olds.
They're
Fuck you, Ryan!
They hate me the minute I walk in the room.
It's because you're creepy guys.
I struggle with satisfying parents.
Oh, parents are the worst.
Fortunately, I think I've just learned to communicate better, or maybe just a little bit more clipped. Actually, you know nothing. Moving on.
So we spent 5 minutes not even talking about what we were going to talk about.
Like.
So anyone who's not tuned in anymore, sorry. What do I care? You're not
Sorry
tuned
if
in.
I bored you.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about you're almost going onto Broadway.
I was so close, JP.
What happened?
So it was Saturday Night Fever. It was the tour, or not the tour. It was the original Broadway cast of Saturday Night Fever. They were doing an audition tour, and I auditioned, and I can't remember the character's name. Bobby, I think, the guy who jumps off a bridge.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
He sings Tragedy.
Yes.
And I got an audition, and I had been working with Talent House at the time, so they provided me with this great opportunity, and did the dance call, and it was hard. The dance call was really, really difficult, triple pirouettes and all things like that I even struggled with. But when I was younger, I was a good faker. Like, I'm a little stiff now, but I was a really good faker. My technique wasn't great, but if you told me do a triple pirouette, I could make it happen, and then still kind of have a sense of style, which was my style about it.
Yeah.
So, I got a callback for Saturday Night Fever, but the callbacks were in New York, and they were going to like Bruce, my agent, said, people never do this. They said they're going to fly you down and put you in a hotel in Times Square for your callback. And I was like, I had like $92 in the bank.
Yeah.
I had no credit card. Like, I actually had to borrow someone's credit card so I could stay in the hotel that night. Because
the deposit,
they needed
right?
the deposit.
Oh, shit.
I don't have a deposit. I just got flown down here. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I stayed in this like highfalutin hotel in this little mini room, and it was a massive adventure. Me and one other woman from Toronto were flown down and put up at this hotel, and then we had to walk like number of block through along Broadway.
Wow.
The morning of, I woke up. It was Bernard Telsey that was casting at the time, and I went in, and I did the dance call, and did the singing call, and then did another dance call, and was talking to some of the people, and they're like, what callback is this? And I was like, it's my second callback. And they're like, oh, this is our fifth or sixth callback. Like, they were on their final round there. And I was like, oh, well, they flew me down from Toronto. And they're like, oh, they flew you down. Oh my God, you've got it. You've totally got it. Well, so the audition went longer and longer and longer, and I was going to miss my flight home. And me being the worrier that I am in a strange city, and not really having any money to help if I got stuck down there, I started to request that I move up, or I was getting panicked a little, and in that panic, the last time I sang, I didn't nail it.
Yeah.
I know I didn't nail it. They got me out, they let me go, and I'm waiting outside with some other fellow who I'd been auditioning with, and they're like, oh, you're from Toronto, that's so cool, and oh, you're totally going to get in, and your style was amazing during the dance call. And all of a sudden I hear Ryan Kelly, and I turn around, and a stretch limo has pulled up behind me, and I was like, oh, sorry, I gotta go, that's my ride. And then it drove me to the airport, and I flew home.
What?
And I was like, I don't care if I didn't get the show. That's the best story ever.
Wow.
Isn't that hilarious? I got in the car, and I was like, thank you so much for bringing this car. And they're like, it was the only car we had. And I was like, this is the best story ever.
Wow.
So I just felt super highfalutin and wee-oo. And so, no, that's the closest I ever come to getting a Broadway show, but it finished with a
Oh my
bow
God,
on
that's
it.
a great story.
Right? I was pretty happy.
Holy crap.
Then years later, I did get to perform off Broadway with the New York Music Theater Festival.
Yes.
With Living with Henry, which was a show written by my partner my working partner and friend Chris Wilson, who wrote a story about living with HIV.
Mm-hmm.
And that we performed just off 42nd Street in a little theater, and that was, and I did that with Lizzie Curtis.
Oh, did you?
Who we graduated with. she sang Grisabella and Cats in Germany. She's got
We had some talented people.
right, and
Damn.
she's got a voice that just stops the room. So got to do that, and we've done a lot of shows together. Not ironically, but I guess it's been interesting that our paths have converged so many times. We did Company, we did Living with Henry, we did Charlie Brown together.
You know what? I should get Lizzie on. And you know what? I should get you to come back and co-host
Lizzie would have a
with Lizzie
blast.
and
She would
the
love
three
it.
of us just
Yeah.
sitting down and getting
for
together
sure.
again.
She'd love it.
That would be
She'd
awesome.
have the best time ever.
That's-
So yeah, those are my Broadway stars.
That's awesome. So, because you're Broadway stars, is there anything you want to throw? Do you want to do tragedy from?
Oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Yeah, let's do Tragedy from Saturday Night Fever.
Awesome. All right. So this is Ryan Kelly, almost singing tragedy.
Imagine it's this goofy nerd, hashtag always the creep here, singing this song, and then jumping off a bridge at the end of it, which is, you know.
Aw, that's sweet. All right, we're going to listen to Tragedy from Saturday Night Fever here on Be Our Guest. You are listening to Be Our Guest here on a fantastic Saturday afternoon. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan Kelly has been our guest all day.
Oh.
We have come to the end.
Boo!
I know.
This is really fun.
I know. It's so much fun getting to see you again and just talking and reminiscing.
Yeah,
and all
absolutely,
that sort of thing.
and laughing. This
Yeah.
was really fun. I hope it didn't just become just like this barrage of sound for people
It
listening.
might have, but you know what? It's my station. I'm
can
having
do
fun.
whatever we want.
Exactly. It's the internet.
Fuck
It's the
all
Wild
y'all.
West.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck you all. That's going to be the new quote for the
Fuck all
station.
y'all. Yeah, exactly. That's be our guest. Fuck all y'all.
Exactly. So we are, like I said, we're coming to the end of it.
Yes.
What I do is every time I have a guest on, I ask 5 questions.
So
These are
excited about
important
this.
5 questions.
I love a rapid fire.
There is no right or wrong answer, but there are wrong answers.
Okay.
Just
I'm
to let you know.
scared now.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know.
All right.
Okay, so first question.
Question 1.
Question number 1.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Yes.
Sondheim or Weber?
Sondheim.
That
Sondheim.
was fast.
No question. No question.
Are you sure Starlight Express?
I actually saw. Oh my god! I
Did
have a Starlight
you see it in
Express
Germany?
story. I saw it in Germany.
I want to see
I
that.
saw it in Germany. Okay, so I was working on a cruise ship. I'll make this fast and furious.
That's okay.
I was working on a cruise ship. This was before the internet, so we had like actual cards to show whether we were on or off the ship.
Yeah.
And we had not an overnight, but there was a way to get to the ship. It sailed from Rotterdam around the coast to Antwerp, Belgium, that overnight. And so we left our cards on the ship, the boys in the show, but snuck off the ship. So they didn't know that we weren't on the ship when they set sail. And we took a train to Bochum, Germany, to go see Starlight Express because my friend Robert Dean, was in that production before he was on the ship with me. And so we went and saw it. And the theater is fucking incredible because it's built with tracks. Like
That's
running
what I
through.
heard when I
but
learned
wait,
about that.
Wait, so there's this giant bridge, right? There's this giant bridge that rotates on the ceiling and turns into like a ramp and on Electra's giant entrance. And Electra is like literally made of like plastic armor, right?
Yeah.
Like with Christmas lights all over it. And we're like, he's like spinning around, the music is growing and growing, and the ramp is coming down. And he goes, I am Electra! And he falls
Oh no!
on his face, and because his costume is plastic, he just like all the way down the ramp to the floor. It was the craziest, funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, I don't know. I mean, then in that moment, it was hilarious. So anyway, yes. So Starlight Express, if not just for the ramp faux pas, the Starlight Express needs a relook, maybe. You know, I love Sondheim because it's so. And I'm not a math person either, but for some reason, when I listen to the music of Sondheim, I can understand the math.
Yeah.
And when his harmonies are wrong, and yet my intuition understands them. Meanwhile, other composers, I struggle sometimes with melody or harmony or hearing where the chord is supposed to go because it works against my intuition,
Yeah.
musical intuition. For some reason, Sondheim is exactly the opposite for me. So, I mean, and I think Andrew Lloyd Webber certainly has its merits. Like I love Jesus Christ Superstar. I do have a soft spot in my heart for Cats from back in the day. You know, Joseph, as wrong as Joseph is, I still know all the words to it from back in the day. But at the same time, too, I've got no interest in discovering Phantom.
Yep.
I've got really, I'm kind of over. Well, Sunset Boulevard was pretty epic, though. But then Into the Woods, Assassin's Company, and Sweeney Todd. I mean, that's a dream show.
The truth is, there's no right or wrong answer for this one.
Is
there?
It's
What is the right?
It's not the right answer.
This is probably one of the most divisive because
I can't understand why people hate Sondheim, but then when I find out the musicals that they like, I'm like, oh, of course you hate Sondheim.
That's why they hate Sondheim.
Because
I know.
you love
Annie.
Annie!
I did Annie once. Oh, man, I
Were you
hated that.
the Warbucks?
Of course it was Warbucks, yeah. Christina James directed it.
Oh, that would be
Sid
fantastic.
was Coach was
What?
the choreographer.
Okay.
Brendan Massey was in it, I believe, too.
get
It was
out.
just it was at Unionville. It was just like a group of us.
Oh,
It was-
that's really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a long time ago, but yeah.
Question two.
Okay,
What's
question
next?
2. Question 2. Dear Evan Hansen or Come From Away?
Dear Evan Hansen. Why? Oh, God, that was
I didn't
fast.
say
I answered
why.
that really fast. I think Come From Away is a beautiful machine. I think it has incredible parts. But for me, it didn't move me the way it has moved a lot of people. That cast that we have here in Toronto, the cast that and the new swings. I think that we had some new swings move in the last couple of weeks. They're unparalleled. There are people in that cast who I have ultimate respect for, and they put together a Rube Goldberg machine of a show.
know that
basically.
is yeah.
But there are elements of the show that just don't necessarily appeal to me. Maybe the style of music or the style of exposition, the way it's told. I think Dear Evan Hansen at first was Come From Away first, and then Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
Until I saw it. I thought the music from Dear Evan Hansen, without context, sounded like Facebook memes.
Yes,
You can do it, and everybody loves you.
Yeah, I haven't
on a
seen the show
hard
yet,
day.
but
Look up to the sun, and you can make it, and never get down, and all this stuff, right? Well, so then, as you know, I steal things on the internet. I found this fucking beautiful bootleg of Dear Evan Hansen with the original cast, with like close-ups and shit. Like, it was awesome. My mom and I watched it and just like wept our faces off. But when I saw it, I understood the music in context to the story, and I went, oh, this is cool. Like, this is different. This is cool. And it certainly does have a relevance with its social media themes and the idea of being authentic. Although, Come From Away also has its relevance of kindness and in a world where everything is miserable. In a world where everything is miserable, comes a town named after a goose. Both shows are fantastic, but I think it comes down to taste, and I guess the taste for me, Dear Evan Hansen is more my style.
Yeah, again, I haven't seen Dear Evan Hansen yet. I'm going to see it in a few weeks, so I can't.
But they're doing rush tickets for Come From Away now too. So they're seeing.
I've seen it
doing
twice.
rush seats. So I mean, that is a great opportunity. Rush tickets.
Yeah.
Anybody who's in Toronto listening to this, take advantage of rush seats and pay what you can performances, because. Or if you're an arts worker, using your arts worker status to go and see shows, not necessarily on the cheap, but for a discount. Yeah. I think it's important that we watch each other in our own community to then elevate and what we are doing ourselves. There seems to be this weird sort of like insular feeling about Canadian work. It gets a couple of workshops, it might get a production at Fringe, and then it gets shelved. Yep. And then people get very protective of their own ideas as well. In the States and in Great Britain, making new musicals, there seems to be this great energy of sharing new ideas and gaining momentum and making it even bigger than it is. And maybe our humility maybe our apology in our culture creates us to be more humble about what we create. And I think if we continue to watch our own work and then not just pat each other on the back, but compete a little with ourselves and go, oh, that was really good. So let me see if I can also reach that level of professionalism or tightness or magic on stage. Yeah, I think competition is a dirty word in this in this industry, and I think the dirty word should be comparison. I don't think we need to compare ourselves with other productions, but when we watch our own community's work, rather than compare, we compete, and that's inspiration to me. But that's just me, because I didn't know I was a competitive person until I got into business either, right? And then I found out I'm literally a sandworm from Beetlejuice. Like, I'll eat anyone who walks on my desert. So
listeners, just to remind you, the answer was Dear Evan Hansen.
Fuck you. Moving on. There's no rapid fire.
This is not even close.
Question 3.
This is like one of those old-timey bombs with a long fuse.
Oh, yeah, but the explosion is going to be
amazing.
The
explosion was beautiful.
Oh, my God.
Where'd all my questions go? Oh, there they are.
Where?
Okay, question number 3. Jukebox musicals, good or bad?
Well, this is funny because we talked about now.
We did.
Sort of like the evolution of jukebox musicals. Interestingly, I think they're good. I think.
Do you think there's too many? Because they're bringing out a Destiny's Child one in 2020.
There was a Spice Girls one a couple years ago too. I think. Air silence. I think there's merit to the music, obviously, but I get the feeling that maybe people creating jukebox musicals might think it's easier to do, simply because the music is already there, and then they just get to structure it or order them in a playlist.
Well, I'm not sure whether are there artists creating this or are there producers saying I have this.
That's a good question,
because I saw the Temptations one.
Ain't Too
Proud to Beg. Music. It's the Temptations, right?
Yeah.
The music's fan. I was so bored.
Bored.
It was such a boring show.
Right.
And so that's a question.
I think jukebox musicals also fall into 2 categories. There's the jukebox musical where the story is original and the music moves the story along in a traditional music theater format, versus them just singing songs by them. I think Jersey Boys transcends or kind of sits on the fence of both.
I haven't seen it yet. That's unfortunate.
It's way better than I thought it would be. And that's not that I thought it was going to be bad, but I thought, jukebox musical, it's just going to be a bunch of songs that they sang. Oh, no, it's a wonderfully constructed show.
As I've heard.
And the characters, now it's biographical too, and I'm not a huge biography person, but I really, really enjoyed it. Mamma Mia, I think, sort of put jukebox musicals... I can't say jukebox musicals.
It's okay, you don't need to.
Those type of music,
that'll work.
Of musicals on the map, because I think what it did is it created a story using the list of songs to create exposition. Yeah. And then because it came up, my mind keeps going back to Forever Plaid, which I don't think is a jukebox musical. Yet it is, because it is a playlist of songs from that era, and yet none of the songs move the story forward. No. Because it's about them performing the songs. Yeah. So I guess I'm like, yes. For jukebox music.
And that's why I give these questions, because there's no concrete answer. No. And that's why I bring it up, so we can debate and talk about all these sort of things.
I think whether you're doing a jukebox musical, oh, motherfucker. One of those evil musicals or not, I think the goal has to be to tell a good story. Yes. Not make money.
Sure. So that's why a lot of these feel like it's producers say, let's make some money and use
how do we
songs.
benefit from this?
Yeah. Okay. Question number 4.
Okay.
Musicals from movies. Good idea or lazy?
Do you mean like if they do a stage version of Frozen, or if they do a stage version of The Greatest Showman?
Like turning
musicals from
Pretty Woman into a musical.
or like The Bodyguard or
The Bodyguard.
Heathers.
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
All right. Well, normally musicals are adapted from a lot of musicals, not normally. A lot of musicals are adapted from a book or a story that has already existed. And often, even before the musical is written, the book of the piece or the story of the piece is created, and then they go, okay, so now where do we insert our music, and where do we use music to? So, I mean, maybe lazy. Same thing. I think it's exactly the same thing as the
jukebox musical.
musicals. I almost said juice box that time. I had no problem saying juice box. Only because I get the feeling that producers would see value in, and I'd say even artists would see value in like relighting the fire under their story in a new medium. Like Pretty Woman, or because I mean those writers are getting now their royalties again, like it's or Bodyguard or what have you. I heard Bodyguard was abysmal.
I heard that. My girlfriend said that.
But I heard it was really fun to look at. Like there's a lot of eye candy on that stage, which I'm all over. But I digress. So I guess the overall comment I will make is if it's a good musical, then I approve. So and that's always relative as well.
Yep. I know it's.
So,
I didn't say I was going to make them easy questions.
All right. I hope the fifth one is an easy one. No,
this one is the one we'll decide whether I bring you back or I keep talking to you ever.
Wait, but my big debate is whether or not Disney should keep making live action versions.
I haven't watched any of the trailers because I think I saw the Lion King one. I went, this isn't live action.
Okay, so
what is this?
This is a confession. I don't like the Lion King.
Yeah. Oh, the stage show?
The show.
It's a spectacle. I
would like to see it with my eyes, but I don't care about the story.
No, the story is whatever. But
the story is be the fault of your dad's death and then run away from your problems and you'll still get to be the king. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But it was a spectacle to watch.
Well, but now they've redone it.
What, on stage or?
No, the live version.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares about that? But it's not the live version. It's still an animated version anyway.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. No, I'm agreed.
We talked so much.
this rapid fire. All right. Well, there's only one question. Though.
Okay.
There's one question, and this is the most important question.
Okay.
Food in the theater, yes or no?
Relaxed performances, yes.
That wasn't okay. Fine.
No. Otherwise, no.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it is a distraction. It's like phones. It's like, I mean, I guess if you're like that lady who has to keep mints in her purse, like I don't have a problem with that.
Well, if you do it before the show starts,
or having but I do not like the idea of someone having a bag of chips or a popcorn or something. The reason being is because I mean, I think audiences may forget. Maybe they. I don't want to make any assumptions about the Muggles of the world, but maybe they forget that they're real people up there trying to maintain a focus or a through line that knowing that anything can happen can pull you out. Now, I guess that what that suggests is that we as performers or actors are weak and weakly rooted in our focus, and that's not necessarily the thing. But when you're reminded in a moment that the audience isn't paying attention to you, that can become another voice in your head. Plus,
can you eat food in a courtroom?
No, I don't think so.
Because you don't want the bag of chips being open.
But I am a massive fan of relaxed performances.
Relaxed performances are completely different, yes.
Where people with neurodiversities, people with different needs, not necessarily special needs, but yes, special needs, but people who are more comfortable with the house lights half on, with signers for deaf communities, with surtitles or subtitles perhaps, even changing the length of the show or how it's, but then, and allowing people to eat, drink, make noise, come and go.
A bag of chips at that point is the
you're
least
prepared, right?
Exactly.
Then you're prepared for it. I don't know. I mean, Sanford Meisner, was it Sanford or Stanford Meisner? Mr. Meisner.
Jukebox Meisner?
A lot of Jukebox Meisner said used the Meisner technique as a way of getting out of your own head and thinking about the other person.
Yeah.
But it also prepares you for sort of anything can happen and doesn't necessarily throw you off because you're not in your own head. That would be ideal headspace to live in on stage, but every time you're on stage it's different, and every day is different, and your ability to emote or tap in or process is different every day. David Mamet in True and False says something about like when you do a show and you come off the stage and all your friends are like, that was amazing, and you just had a shitty show, like they don't know. So you're doing what you did on stage at that time is what it was. So whether you had a good show or a bad show has merit and not merit at all, which is what I love about that book, because it constantly says this, and then the opposite is also true, that you're just going to get up there and do what you're going to do. So food, I guess, last question. I don't know. Food, for me, I like food in the theater, like if I'm backstage. I would like it if they supplied food.
Well, backstage. Oh, for sure.
That would be a whole other story. But no.
Well, speaking of anybody who I'm going to go see, what I do is a tradition. I started with actually Regan Teal, when she was in Stratford.
Yes.
Back in the day. Everybody brings flowers and stuff like that. And like, I hate when people bring me that. I've started, for anybody I go see, I bring a bag of bananas.
That's actually... I would be laughing if you didn't hit an actual story of my life on the head. When I did House of Martin Guerre at Can Stage, my friend Jeanette Marino, I don't know if you remember her from Sheridan.
I kind of do, yeah.
Songstress, chanteuse, she's on SoundCloud as Jeanette Piano Woman. We had such a dry sense of humor that anyone who sent me like flowers, chocolates, whatever, she sent me a melon.
Nice.
She just sent me a cantaloupe.
Good.
And
so much more practical.
The usher came back to the dressing room with it in their hand. They're like, "This is for Ryan." And I was like, oh, "Who's it from? Oh, it's perfect. It's from Jeanette." And so, I think a bag of bananas is the way to go.
You're gonna use those. They're gonna enjoy them, and
give them some salt for like a rinse.
Exactly.
Saline solution.
Keep your flowers.
Kleenex.
I don't care. But
double-sided tape.
So
your nipples don't show through your costume. Band-Aids, right?
What kind of shows are you doing with your nipples?
Well, you don't.
I don't. I'm gonna have to come see more of your shows.
I've been naked a few times.
I have been naked. I wrote my own show, and
you like doing that though.
People seem to remember that from show. I never was. Was I fully naked?
Yeah, I think you did.
Ah, shit. I'd been naked many times on stage. That's I don't.
It's care. We go in, we come out. We enter life
exactly.
naked, we exit naked.
If we were all naked,
in our dreams, maybe,
no one would care.
No one would.
Like, eventually.
Next time we do this, we do it naked.
Someone might care. Like, you've got windows here.
We'll save our view. Yeah, but our listeners.
It's true. We'll do video.
Oh, no.
No. We're old now. Nobody wants to see that. Wow, that was a really rapid fire.
Not rapid.
Not even close.
I like talking.
That's fine, and that's awesome, and that's why I'm so glad that you were accepted to come on and talk to me today and be a part of this thing. So, would you want to come back at some point?
Oh, yes, I absolutely would.
Cool.
Yeah, it would be an absolute pleasure.
Well, if you ever find anybody who would like to, talk on the radio,
word out and happy to share this too.
Yeah,
so that
and we can do a co-host, and they can be talking, and we can just
a
co-host.
As long as we don't say the word jukebox, I'll be just fine.
But that's one of my questions.
You can ask that.
I will ask that. All right. Again, thank you, Ryan.
Do I get to make one more song request to finish the show?
Yes, you can. What would you like to end the show with? I
would like to end on a song that makes me laugh and cry at the same time. From a show that Toronto Musical Concerts is going to be doing in the fall.
Yep.
I would like to hear "Follow Your Heart" from You're in Town.
Brilliant show. Awesome choice. Thank you, Ryan, once again.
Thank you, JP.
Everybody out there who've been listening, thank you very much for tuning in to be our guest this Saturday. We just had so much fun here today. Just love talking with people.
What a riot. Thank you. was really fun.
Let us know on social media, on our Twitter account and our Facebook account, how much you loved it or hated it, or what your
love
favorite.
or hate it. Like, that's it.
Exact-
Don't shut us off partway through.
No.
And if you do, don't fucking leave a comment, because I don't want to know.
Well, like Ryan said, it's either positive or negative
Yeah.
with reviews. Just tell us what you think. Be honest.
Love me or leave me, or let me be lonely.
Because I don't care. I don't really. No, not okay. So, again, thank you for coming out this Saturday. I'm Jean-Paul Yovanoff. You've been listening to Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. Ryan Kelly has requested, what's the song again?
Follow your heart from You're in Town.
Follow Your Heart from Your Town here on Musical Theater Radio.